It's preparing to go live. And you are live.
All right. This is Robert Worden, the acting chairman of the Annapolis Heritage Commission. I call the meeting to order. I have 5:03 on my clock. And we'll begin. I'll just read the purpose of the commission. According to the city code, the commission shall advise on and facilitate the development of programs and activities that increases public awareness, appreciation, and preservation of the cultural heritage of the city of Annapolis. The commission shall have discretion to develop programs and projects in partnership with the Historic Preservation Commission and other heritage-related agencies and organizations that keeps the cultural heritage alive in our memory as part of what has shaped us as a people, nation, and culture. This can include commemorative events, publications, monuments, markers, awards, and other educational activities. The Commission shall consider as a primary component of the program and project development the educational value and public benefit associated with the Commission's proposed activities. That's from the City Code Section 2.48.360, and I'm reading this from the Heritage Commission's annual report for 2019 under duties. So we've got that done, and we do have, I see on the agenda approval of minutes of March 4th, 2020. I don't know as if I've seen those. Tammy, do you know those minutes go out?
I didn't get them.
I don't remember seeing those minutes. Let me look.
Actually, I got a copy of them. They came with the agenda that Roberta had sent out.
Okay, I must have overlooked that. I don't see it.
I didn't get any of that.
I don't see it. I don't see it in my downloads from. So we will have to. Several of us don't think we have that, so we will pass on that for the moment. But for the moment, for the rest of the meeting, until we can get that at our next session, whenever that is, we'll push that forward, those approval of those minutes. So we'll move on to the new business, which is the Newman Compromise Streets Guardians of the First Amendment memorial signage. Everybody has seen the application and the details about that. Does anyone have any questions they want to raise at this time about the text? Our purpose is to review the text of the memorial.
There really isn't a lot of text to deal with. I mean, there's the First Amendment and the various people who were responsible for putting the project together.
That's right. There's not much. That's why this could be a short meeting. Just for the record, I got my official little Constitution book here, put out by the Commission on the Bicentennial of the United States Commission, 1985 to 1992, and I compared the text, and they have it exactly right, including all the punctuation, which is something that we do need to pay attention to. So I find everything is in order there. My only comment about it, they say ratified 1791. I guess being a historian, I would have put the date December 15th, 1791. But if they only want the year, I suppose that's okay too.
Ratified 1791.
1791. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was December 15th was the actual
Oh.
date.
Okay.
The whole Bill of Rights was approved on that date, but it's a small point.
Okay.
I'll be glad to request that.
Okay, or they can consider it. I mean, they certainly have space for it, and it's just a little more precision. Doesn't hurt, but if it hurts them, then I guess we don't need to worry about it. I also, you can't have any fault with the capital 5 shot dead at the Capitol. I mean, that was a publication, so we can't do anything about that. We accept it. I went through the list of names and titles. I can't verify that every one of those is spelled correctly, but the titles all look correct. I didn't find any typographical errors in any of that.
And there will likely be some changes. For example, there will be an alderman that changes.
Right, yes, which they note there,
Yes.
which should be happening probably any day soon, I gather, or relatively soon. One question I have as I went through this over and over again and looking at the schematics and the layout and the positioning and all that. Roberta, do you know if they intend to add more at a later date to have the Capitol Gazette newspaper page? But it seems to me that they have a big wall there, and if there were other First Amendment events, are they thinking about adding those to that wall?
Not that I know of. As far as I know, they just intend to have the 3 that you are looking at today.
Right. Okay. And
And,
certainly space for more should they ever come up with something else. There's quite a big piece of wall there, actually.
Oh.
I'm not advocating that, but I just seem that this is only one example of a First Amendment event touching our city. There may be others.
None others that I know of that have been discussed or planned.
Okay.
So
All right.
it-
Well, just for the record, there's certainly room if they wanted to add more later,
Okay.
and they would come back to us for a review. Does anyone have any other discussion about the memorial, the text?
No, Roberta here. I just wanted to say that for anyone who wants to look at the entire application, who may be listening, it's available on eTrackit. And the number of the application is HPC 2020-135. And it is listed under projects. And if you don't want to look at the entire application, my staff report for the upcoming public hearing is also in eTrackit. And if anyone is so desires, the full deliberation will be made by the Historic Preservation Commission next Tuesday, beginning at 7 p.m. for the public hearing.
Okay.
So to Robert's point, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Point, since this was such a horrific situation that happened to highlight First Amendment's importance of First Amendment, I assume that it was going to be just focused on the newspaper incident. Were you thinking it was going to be something more, Robert?
No, it just occurred to me that if there was something in the future
Okay.
that
There was.
we hope not. Oh, of course, it could be something very positive. On the other hand,
Yeah.
they've got a large wall with a very small sign on it. Is what struck me. The interpretive signage panel, and maybe that was their purpose. Is it really draws attention. There's only one thing to look at. Not that there may not have been anything else under consideration, but perhaps in the future. That's all. That is my point.
That's an excellent point, Robert. And that, Roberta, maybe you can ask about that, because my idea was that, my thinking was that it was purposely designed to be so large and to have this not much of this space taken up with anything else. but I don't know. I mean,
That's how the application reads.
okay, all right. So I think about other monuments that, I think about when the Vietnam Wall Memorial went up and how some people went, wow, that's just what they're doing. They're not doing anything more. And then of course, remember, I mean, some of
Yes.
you remember this, right? And then other
Yes.
people,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and then other people would say, no, that is the design. And you have to understand as you stand in the design of the wall, the reflection of you seeing yourself and seeing other things around you was part of the interpretation, which, I mean, it took a long time for people to love that, I think.
Mhm.
So that's just what I was thinking as well, that I thought it was that kind of an interpretive panel, that
Yeah.
it would, but it's so nice that it is moving forward.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
We don't have Marcy yet, do we?
Yes.
That was Marcy.
Can you not
Yeah.
see? That was me.
Oh, that was Marcy. Okay.
Oh, I don't see you,
Good.
Robert. Yeah.
You can't see me. I'm a secretive guy. So we have all of our commissioners are now present in this meeting. And is there any other discussion before we have a motion?
I have the world's smallest comment, and it might be that I can't read the print, but and Roberta had said that they're going to be, making some modifications to the alderpersons and such. I think Dewan Gay's name either is misspelled or it's Dajuan, and it's all supposed to be all one word. It reads as two separate. At least that's what I believe is the correct spelling of his name. But otherwise, I think you're right. I think it's intended to be a very passive space. And I think it's, minimalist in its language and interpretation. I think it's, quite well done. I have no other comments.
I guess I have as much information as everybody else, and maybe not all of us. This is the wall that we're looking at?
Yes.
I'm not on the Zoom. I'm on my phone.
Right.
And I'm asking a question. Is this the wall? Because I don't have as much information as everyone else have, I said.
What do you have the pages that give has the governor and
Yeah.
all that?
That's the question.
That's the page right now that we're talking about. I'm just looking at the city council website, and Mr. Gay's name is D.A. no space capital J-U-A-N. So there is a little problem with that.
I did also just look that up, right? You're correct.
So
Good catch, Karen.
that can be pointed out.
Heidi. Very minor.
No, that's important.
No,
Yeah,
that's
but we want that
important.
right.
It's important.
We don't want another Michelangelo here.
No, we do not. I tell you what, I wish I never knew that, because I cannot drive by that monument without going, oh my God, why didn't they ask somebody?
And whenever anyone questions whether the Heritage Commission should be reviewing plaques, markers, I use that as an example.
Oh, yeah.
I have pointed it out to my Greek friends and my Italian friends, especially the ones on the sons and the daughters of the Italian, lodge who help sponsor that. And they are so horrified that no one picked it up. And I'm like, hey, you should have asked.
And we saw it the first time we glanced at it.
Yeah, but it
What's
was
wrong
already
with us?
up.
Fresh eyes.
Yeah, it was, well, yes.
Yes, exactly, David. Too late for us to do
Yep.
anything.
Yep.
Robert,
Okay.
before you vote, Robert.
Yes?
I wonder if you should agree as a group what your comments will be that you submit to public hearing.
Okay. Well, I think the only comments we have is our we've reviewed the text. We approve everything we've seen, with the very small exception of Alderman Gay's name being hooked together, first name. I made comments about, future things, but that's not part of the application. We're only sticking to what they've asked for, and that was to review the current application. So there's really, I don't know what else there might be to say. Do you have any suggestions, Roberta?
Well, Robert, how about the December 15th with the ratification date?
Well, yes, that's right. We were going to suggest that, December 15th.
So it's just a matter of you summarizing and naming which member is going to write that comment.
Okay. Any volunteers?
I'll do it.
Who's that?
Karen. Sorry, I thought you could see us.
No, I can't. I'm looking at the First Amendment panel right now.
Okay, all right. I'm happy to do that and just make those two recommendations unless I hear anything else.
Okay.
And Roberta, we draft up a formal statement and send it to you, and then you forward it. Is that how this works?
No, you just do it straight into the web comment. So
Okay.
just like you comment
Oh,
for
for the
historic
HPC.
preservation,
Got
there
it.
is
Oh, right.
there's
Yeah.
So
you'll
you
see-
want to, this is a comment provided by the Heritage Commission to the, okay,
I think that's the
Okay.
easiest way to get it fully recorded.
okay.
Karen, are you putting it into the tracking system? Is that how you're
No,
doing
I'm
it?
writing out the text so that I'll have it for the,
Oh, okay.
yeah. If I don't get it done right now, I'm afraid
No,
it
no,
will.
no, I understand. I was just wanting to know how you do it.
No,
So
but
I-
it actually does work. You provide comments and you upload them to the
Okay,
system.
all right.
So,
And then eventually they get to me, and
Okay.
then even more eventually they get to our recorder, who tallies those for and against, and so on. Yep.
Okay, Karen, thank you very much for taking over that big responsibility.
not a problem.
Are we ready for a motion then?
What is the ratification date? I'm sorry, I heard it to be
December 15th, 1791.
1790. Okay, thank you.
Yes, I move to accept the language on the panel with amendments.
All right, we have a motion made by, I don't know who?
Marcy? Marcy?
Marcy?
That's Marcy, okay. And we need a second.
Alma Cropper, second.
Okay, thank you, Alma. Seconded by Alma. We have a motion properly made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Mark,
Okay.
Mark is muted. Is he want to say aye?
Oh, he's the recorder.
You unmute her?
Person. Can I ask you a question though, because it's going to make a difference? Who is now on the board? Is it still just Worden, Taylor Toma, and Cropper, or Karen? Did you get?
I was sworn in like
Okay.
last day before COVID. I don't remember when it was, mid-March.
Okay, and what about Mr.
Yeah,
Height?
Yeah, Tammy, I have not been accepted yet. So yes.
This is Robert. I was in touch with Hillary Radovich about that issue. The website's is out of date, still has Ted Mack there and does not have Karen. We also have, besides David, there's another pending, and I'd have to look it up. I won't take the time now. There's another pending applicant who was in contact with me. And I said, well, contact Hillary and see where things are at. But basically her response was that eventually they'll begin to clear up that they have a backlog of applicants for commissions throughout the city.
She's hopeful that at the September meeting, they'll be able to handle it.
Break those loose. Okay. So we should, if approved, there's another member will be joining us, a gentleman. I don't want to take the time now to look up his name. We had an email exchange about a month ago. Somehow even though I'm not clearly on the website as the acting chair, he somehow found me and sent me an email. So, which was very, very good of him to have done that.
Believe me,
Okay.
I do keep pressuring them about David because I don't like seeing David continually left behind. But another problem is that the Economic Matters Committee meetings keep being canceled. But a lot of that we can blame on the pandemic because our meetings had to be canceled as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand that.
Excuse me, this is Alma. Do I have to be sworn in again?
I'm laughing because I went to a hearing about. I had my first term was only a year, and then it got extended for another 3 years, and that's long expired. I think I only got sworn in once the first time. The second time was just automatic because they kind of renewed the appointment.
Robert, this is Marcy and Alma. I was invited to come in and get sworn in for the second time, for my second term.
Second time, oh, okay.
Which was sometime last year.
Okay. Well, this is Robert. My own term expired, a year or more ago. So I don't know if I'm amongst those pending for reappointment or not.
Hillary has been reminded.
Okay.
I know it's for some things, some of the things that you're doing. I know it's an inconvenience for some of you to put stuff in the mail for me, but don't send anything to the Legacy Center.
Yeah, Sherry has been sending everything by mail directly to you.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Are we done with the First Amendment memorial application? We're not done with the amendment itself. Okay, then the next item, which does not appear on the agenda, but we've added to the agenda, is a project that Karen and Marcy are working on, and they will now succinctly present that to us.
Let me take it over, Marcy, or would you like to?
Go ahead, Karen.
Okay. So many of you might be familiar with the project that we've been working on. Historic Annapolis has been engaged in a partnership with the National Park Service Chesapeake Bay office. And it was primarily to identify program opportunities to enhance the City Dock experience. There were 4 pieces associated with this project. 2 of them had to do with the City Dock Action Committee project. You may have read about that somewhat in the paper. This was for our 2019 task agreement. Another one deals with a feasibility study on the adaptive reuse of the Burtis House. But the final piece is an interpretation plan for City Dock and the surrounding area. And when I say the surrounding area, that includes Eastport and the Naval Academy. And the real purpose of this project is to explore historic maritime, interpretive, and educational opportunities that exist now that connect people, visitors, and residents with Annapolis's maritime culture and history, but to also identify ways that we can enhance those experiences. So what we've done is develop, kind of looked at the area, identified what are the reoccurring themes and sub-themes, associated places with these themes, identified existing programs, and then again, trying to identify if there's any gaps of ways programs can be even more developed or enhanced to increase opportunities for connecting with our cultural and natural heritage. So this is a project that we've been working on. Really, it started right around COVID. And we have a small group that we're working with at the Park Service and a little internal team at HA. And we've been reaching out to stakeholders. I had reached out to the city. I spoke with reached out to Roberta to get her insights along with some folks in the mayor's office. We're working with Four Rivers, Watermark, the Naval Academy, the Maritime Museum. But because you all have great brains about and understanding of historic resources and opportunities for engagement. We thought we would just introduce this project to you all, see if you know of, if you have thoughts on how to enhance existing programming, if you have people that you recommend that we consult with to identify if there are, stories that are lost that we need to be sure that we're capturing through this process. And so this is really just an opportunity to kind of introduce the project to you all. And then Marcy and I can follow with a draft of those themes and sub-themes if you want to take a look at it. And as we get further in the consultation process, we can share with you sort of our itemized list of existing programs and some recommendations for enhancement of programs. Marcy's been instrumental in coordinating this with many of her teacher colleagues about how this can be compatible with the social studies curriculum and the environmental literacy standards through the public school systems. And I think it's also particularly important right now in the time of COVID. We're trying to identify ways to enhance ways to learn and to engage in your community virtually or through online offerings. And so in many ways, the timeliness of this is quite good. Marcy, do you have anything else that you want to add to this?
I'll just add, thanks, Karen. It's been a very interesting process with us working with National Park Service. Certainly it came about through many discussions, but one area that I felt real comfortable with was the first theme. The second theme, which has changed names many times, is Chesapeake Maritime Life and Commerce. And one thing I'll add is that part of Eastport is included in this interpretive plan because of trying to represent more diversity and more maritime history, I'll say. United States Naval Academy is also included in this same, I'm going to call it the region that we've drafted up, the physical region of the interpretive plan. But what the teachers felt was most needed was the fourth theme, which was the diversity, equity, and justice theme. And we're looking at everything that's going on in our world today. We'd be blind if we didn't see what's on our television screen every night. And the teachers want to be able to address these issues and want to be able to teach about them. And so do colonial tour guides. And not everyone feels comfortable with talking about diversity, equity, and justice, mostly because they don't know enough about it. So we know that there's gaps there. And then not just from the national parks perspective, also from the required state mandate of environmental literacy, which begins in 3rd grade, is this idea of preservation, restoration, and stewardship, which is right up our alley too with heritage education. So, and what we do and believe in. So I think it's a good document, but we certainly, it's not 100% there yet. And we know that you're really smart and interesting people and could offer some insight to our themes and sub-themes. Karen, did you want to talk about the boundary and why it was drawn a little bit that way, other than what I just briefly said about?
Well, and initially, again, this was sort of an extension of the City Dock Action Committee and ways to reinvigorate or transform the heart of the historic district. And so our initial boundary was primarily targeted just to the City Dock and, the kind of the immediate surrounding area. But as we... Yes, sir.
Karen, Robert, what is City Dock? I mean, some people think the dock is just that area between Dock Street and the piece of water that the boats go up and down. I see City Dock as the piece of water itself that's surrounded by land on 3 sides and was once much, much bigger than it is today. And I'm glad to hear that Eastport is included, because if it's the water we're talking about, not the physical little strip of land, then Eastport rightfully belongs in any city dock discussion.
Yes.
So I'm curious about what's your definition?
Well, you hit the nail on the head, Robert, because initially it was the same boundaries as the City Dock Action Committee, which, as you said, the three sides that surrounded the water, from roughly Compromise Street, hugging around to like where the Market House is, and then down Dock Street to Susan Campbell Park. But as Marcy pointed out, some of the themes are so intertwined. The maritime history and culture, you can't have a conversation about that at City Dock without integrating Eastport. Same with the military history. And so the Naval Academy being immediately adjacent to City Dock, we've expanded the boundaries to include that as well. So it's a little bit broader. It's not quite the entire historic district, but it is sort of the heart of that area. That again was sort of an extension of some of those earlier City Dock discussions about transforming that space and activating that space.
And Roberta, if you were wondering why I was asking for the digital files for the walking, our tours, it's because I wanted to make sure that, especially in Eastport area, that we could look at our own work from the Heritage Commission's perspective and make sure that areas that we had identified as important, both in Eastport and in downtown Annapolis, were included in places that we should visit under our sub-themes. So that's what that whole discussion was on. Who has the digital files to, our maps.
Yeah. So we will follow with copies of some of the materials that we've prepared, and welcome your feedback, individually or collectively. Again, it's just right now we're still very much in the kind of information gathering stage, but it's an opportunity for us to identify ways that we can continue to enhance the way people connect and care for this area. And, that there's some areas that are clearly well interpreted, but then there's some areas where we think we can enhance interpretive opportunities. And so that's really the goal of this effort.
Maybe there were 3 questions that we asked the stakeholders, and maybe the letter to the stakeholders might be helpful for guidance. Karen, what do you think?
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to include that as well. I don't have it.
And do you think it would be, is it okay to share the list of stakeholders and educators? What do you think?
I think so. Sure.
Okay. So, I mean, if we're asking them if we're saying to like Alma and David and Robert, who do we miss? I think they'd have to then see the list of stakeholders.
That would be very helpful. This is Robert. That would be extremely helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be good.
All right, so I'm going to send you the background, just the introductory letter, the list of stakeholders, and then the draft themes and sub-themes.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Alma, can I have, this is Marcy. Do you mind if I have a phone number so I can contact you? I wanted to talk to you about a couple other things.
410 263
Yep.
2429.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to give you a call.
Okay.
Thank you.
All righty.
You mentioned diversity. This is Roberta. There's a recent document that may be helpful to you, and that is the Phase 2 archaeological evaluation for the flood mitigation area at Compromise in Newman.
Okay.
They studied the census records of everyone who lived in those houses in the flood mitigation limits of disturbance. And the diversity is amazing. And I was just looking at, they have all the different families, and I'll give you one example. At 105 Compromise, 30-year-old Filipino immigrant Victorino Pabellon with his 22-year-old wife, Anna. Victorino served as a sailor in the U.S. Navy. And next door, a 28-year-old Filipino immigrant with his 30-year-old wife, Ruth. You know, and they talk about folks of Jewish heritage, and it's all over the world.
What year was the census? What year was that information taken from, the census?
Well, they started with the Sanborn maps and just went to the census records from there. So they went from 1885 up to 1913, no, up to 1930. And then they just went after census records from those. But they have it all footnoted and so on in this document.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you all probably know this, but another big project that HA is embarking on is this Annapolis, An American Story, the exhibit at 99 Main. And there is a whole section on 20th century, especially 20th century diversity and everything, to your point, Roberta, that there was a strong, not only African-American community, but Hispanic and Filipino, and it's really a melting pot, and the Greek and Jewish communities. And so Mary Angela Hardwick, our education director, has been having these incredible oral conversations and following oral histories. That's a big part of the exhibit. So yeah, Roberta, if you could send that over, that'd be great. Is that the AECOM thing that was on?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I saw that they found over 3,000 artifacts in that.
Right.
And that's kind of cool.
That's great.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's only a hint of what will be found during the phase 3 investigation.
I'm sure.
Some of us dig, but we don't
Karen?
dig early
Yes.
enough.
Karen, this is Robert. Is there anything else you want to tell us about this project?
No, I'll provide some follow-up information to you all. And again, I just appreciate any insights that you may have.
Sure. Yeah, I can share some, but I don't want to take the time now.
Terrific.
Until we see the package. I don't want to repeat what you may already have.
Okay.
Is there any other new business on our agenda? There's none stated, but does anyone have anything else they would like to mention at this time? No. I'm actually watching you people on the screen live, so I can see you shaking your heads and nodding and so forth. Well, you can't see me. This is rather interesting. We have one item under old business. We don't really have anything we can discuss at this point. It's we've tried several times with letters or memos to the mayor's office and Public Works and so forth. It had no particular result. I've been in touch with Ted Mack early on, and we were going to get together in his home. Well, you know what happened in March, so we haven't done that. He said he did have some email correspondence with the purveyors of this erroneous sign, and that they agreed they would take it down, or they would correct it, or they'd do something. But he wasn't sure who that was even from. So I can try to follow up on that once again. It's a shame that that sign is there, misinforming the public about things that didn't really happen.
And it looks so shiny and wonderful. Everyone stops and reads it. It drives me crazy.
Yep. A font of misinformation. So we will keep that on our agenda. And Roberta, if when Sherry makes up those agendas, you remind her, just always put that on until it's resolved. And we'll let her know when it's resolved.
All right. And I think, when the pandemic is over, should that ever happen,
Cross your toes.
you can you should definitely take that up again, because if it's not resolved, then there will be other proposals from this organization we're talking about, or other organizations that we don't want this to happen again.
Right, exactly. Okay, is there any other business?
None that I know of.
Okay, David, anything on
No,
from your
I
part
think,
of town?
no, I was going to say that I think Roberta included a copy of the minutes on August 24th correspondence.
And it was also actually included the last time we met, which was, I believe, it might have been January.
I think it was. Or no,
Tammy,
March.
No, well, that's not possible. At any rate, and it was mailed to Alma, but I'm sorry, Alma, if you didn't get it.
Yeah, we
No.
met in March
Well-
March 4th.
Did we meet on March 4th? Maybe we did.
Yes.
I guess we must have. Okay, I should check my calendar.
Yeah, so it couldn't have been set
well-
in January, but you did meet, and but if you don't have
All right, well,
anything to look at, then we'll have to review it the next time.
Okay, well, we'll review it the next time. We'll be sure that everyone has a copy of it.
All right, make sure I get a copy of stuff.
There's another very, very small typographical error on just Tammy, if you want to correct this. On D1, it says Miss Dougherty. It's actually Mr. Dougherty.
Oh,
I think Jonathan would thank me for that.
oh, yeah.
The copy I have
Yeah, I
has
guess
it as Mr.
Oh, I have Miss.
Mhm.
Let me check my copy. I think it is Mr. because
Oh, I see. It's in two places. The first
okay.
one does say Ms. Right.
Okay.
You're right, Karen.
So you guys are going to hold off on it because everybody. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking again. If I received it, I didn't download it. I don't seem to have it. I got minutes going back to 2015, 2000. Yeah. I don't see
Did
anything.
she share them, Roberta, like in a Google Doc or something like that?
However Sherry normally does it, I don't know. With her out, I emailed it to everyone.
Oh, you did. Okay. All right. All right. I'll just put down that they were deferred.
But we'll take it up next time then.
And Karen, did you give a title to the project that you just discussed? I got the notes. I just couldn't remember what the title was.
We're calling it, what are we calling it, Marcy?
It started out as the interpretive plan, but it
Yeah.
keeps evolving.
But it's sort of changing. So, so maybe, yeah, why don't, for now, you could just call it interpretive plan for City Dock and surrounding area. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All I need.
Okay, is there, if there's no other business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Almost.
I'm sorry, who made that motion?
Marcy?
Marcy
Well-
moved, second?
Alma second them.
Alma seconded? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I hear no objections, so the meeting is adjourned, and we will meet again upon notice of the chair. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Robert.
Good
All
to
right.
see everyone.